So, I bet you guys have noticed that the new trend, the way all of the hot YouTubers are making their big bucks, is by trying to figure out where something minute came from and going in like hour-long deep dives to find it. There was the Defunct Land video, and H Bomber Guy made the video. The Disney Channel theme song, the not Minecraft, Roblox oof noise. I'm thinking it'll really help my channel take off if you guys help me on a 5 hour deep dive on the origins of the Ed, Edd, and Eddy sumo sound effect. You guys in or out?
Let's fucking do it.
All right. Um, Will, your job will be to contact the Library of Congress. Dav, you'll conduct interviews because you have a lot of connections, and I will do something that will unexpectedly turn around to be really helpful in the end. It's always something that you think doesn't help that is like the final answer at the very start.
Just like Troy finding the fan in the escape room.
Oh yeah, we did do an escape room this week. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of connections.
I'm not wearing a cardigan.
Well, there was that time that I was selling my old laptop on Facebook, and a complete stranger, and a complete stranger wanted it, and he messaged me and said, we were just trying to figure out a convenient time that someone, like, we just had no way to meet halfway and meet up conveniently, till he eventually goes, okay, but I notice David Pickles in your Facebook cover photo, and he works for me, so I'll send him to go get it.
Oh, damn.
And I'll censor out your full name, but
David Pickles.
Pickle.
Pickles. Oh man.
So are you gonna censor it with like a beep, or just be like, "Yeah, I noticed that David was in your cover photo"?
I mean, maybe I'll do exactly what Art imitates and just get the sound of Bubble Bass saying pickles and put it over. And now that I've said it on the record, I don't think I can go back. Rev up those fryers and fill those champagne glasses to the tippy top. It's West Coast Toast and Roast with Tommy, Will, and Dav. Welcome back to West Coast Toast and Roast. I am exploring connections via my Facebook cover photo. It's me, Tommy.
And I don't think I've updated my Facebook cover photo in like a solid 3 years, and I'm Will.
And I died. I'm Dev.
If Dav died, what would be the hashtag?
Tag dead Dav.
Hashtag too much pussy.
Will, save us. Do you have something to toast or roast?
Yes, I do. So I'm back on my Junji Ito bullshit again, and recently he came out with something called the Black Paradox, and I'm toasting it.
All right. Tell us about it.
So basically, it's about there are these 4 kids. The premise is that there are these 4 kids, and they all want to commit suicide. And throughout, we learn that their reasons for committing suicide are really fucking weird. For example, one of them has just like this feeling that something bad is going to happen at all times, and that's normal. The other one keeps seeing his doppelganger, just like at random times, so he's worried that the doppelganger is going to kill him, so he wants to kill himself first. The other one has like this weird birthmark, and then the final one, hear me out, was the base model, like the way he looks, was a model for an android. And he felt like the android was more him than he was, so he didn't need to exist.
Huh.
And so it's pretty odd. But then, basically, they take a bunch of sleeping pills, and one of them dies and comes back to life, and he starts vomiting up these gemstones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, he can't stop vomiting them up, and he, like, explodes. And we don't quite know what the gemstones are. Later, we find out that because he died, he opened a portal to the other world in his stomach. So that's why he keeps vomiting up those gemstones, and they're actually souls.
Oh, I could have told you that. That happened to my cousin.
It
You're
happened to my
starting to
buddy
lose
Eric.
me a bit here.
So it does get a little crazy, but in typical Junji Ito fashion, he always ties it together really well. There's this really cool scene because eventually, like, he's vomiting up too many gemstones, and so they take his stomach out of him and they put it in a pool, and the stomach just keeps getting bigger, and there's just like really creepy artwork of just like this giant stomach with a hole in it. And it just feels like something out of Akira, and it is fucking amazing.
What the fuck?
Sick.
You said he's throwing up too many gemstones, but I think throwing up any number of gemstones is too many gemstones.
Yeah, but eventually he throws up so many that he explodes.
Oh, okay.
Epic.
So is this like a news story by him?
This was one of the ones where he wrote it a while back, and it's now just being translated. I think it's kind of back in 2009-ish.
Gotcha. So the gemstones are souls.
Yes, and so then it like kind of goes into the idea of the gemstones are rare, and they can, like, they have power, but is it really ethical to steal people's souls from heaven just to power, like, the modern world?
So
And so
they're the chaos
eventually...
emeralds.
What's that?
They're the chaos emeralds.
Yeah, basically. Except more Junji Ito-esque. So then at the end, it kind of goes through that, like, the kids don't want to kill themselves anymore because they know what happens on the other worlds. So now they're kind of scared of it because they don't want their souls to be taken and just used as fuel. It's a really, like, just great commentary on death and greed and the kind of pursuit of what makes life worth living, and it's one of his shorter stories, so it's really easy to digest.
It's gonna sound completely like I'm shitpost, but I swear to God, that actually reminds me a bit of like BoJack Horseman.
Oh, does BoJack Horseman have a giant stomach in a pool?
No, but it does. It is like, I guess I think of it as the view from halfway down principle when you're kind of confronted with death itself and gain maybe not an appreciation for life, but a fear of forsaking it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was not trying to imply that BoJack Horseman vomits jewels.
well, I mean, who knows? Or that show isn't still going, is it?
No.
Yeah, so,
Netflix
Junji Ito 1, BoJack Horseman 0.
Because Junji Ito hasn't been canceled by Netflix yet.
Yep. In fact, he's getting a new series on Netflix.
Oh, what's on the slab?
I think it's just a bunch of adaptations of his short stories, and I'm cautiously optimistic because I know, like, judging from what that Super Eye Patch video you showed me, the Junji Ito collection wasn't very good, so I'm hoping this gets a bit more love to it.
What's going on with Uzumaki?
It got delayed again. We have no idea.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm getting a little concerned, but I mean, hopefully it's going to be good, but I also don't like how they, like, mention that they're changing events in it.
If it doesn't have the guys just like flying by spinning in a circle, I'm not gonna be fucking happy.
They're changing the hair story to be their pubes instead of their head hair.
God, well, I mean, I think that was the author's original intention.
They gotta change Jack in the Box Boy to just be Spaghetti from Tim and Eric.
Now that would be awesome.
Spaghetti!
Yeah, besides that, I think that's pretty much my biggest elevator pitch for Junji Ito's new story.
The Black Paradox, you said?
Yes.
Gotcha. I just like to say it at the end so the folks at home can write it in their notepad before they forget about it. Or Google it even.
Yeah.
I don't know what you
And
guys
for the
do. I don't know what people are busy doing while they listen to this. Someone left a comment saying they listen to this while they work. Which,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah. I hope their job isn't like, brain surgeon, because I think we would actively, we destroy enough brain cells with our words. I don't know if we need to, destroy actual organs.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, if you're listening to this while you work and you don't have brain surgery to do and you do like horror, you should check out The Black Paradox.
Right.
Davey, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay. So, I had some negative things to say about a certain Disney show when last we met. But today, I believe we finally turned it around because they made something I enjoyed, and that was Star Wars Andor,
Oh,
which is about Cassian Andor from Rogue One, which is definitely one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Really?
It's
All right.
it's kind of a prequel to a prequel in that sense because it's about kind of like what makes him want to join the rebellion in the first place. Because initially he takes a very passive view of the Empire, just basically wants to keep his hands clean and stay away from anything that they're doing and keep out of politics. But throughout the show, he basically keeps on getting into situations where he kind of can't ignore it anymore. So that's it's kind of a good show about how politics can kind of take over your life, even if you don't want to have any care about it.
Even if you're one of the people who's really proud on Facebook of not being political, the Empire's gonna fucking come for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
thanks, Empire. Now,
So, oh, sorry.
does the Empire strike back?
I guess, and they do a lot of striking first, you know.
Fair enough, yeah.
This is where I'm embarrassed because I heard it was called Andor, and I thought that was a place, not a guy.
No, that's the name of the character Cassian Andor. He was in Rogue One. He was like one of the main guys.
Okay. Um, 'Cause we saw Rogue One. Was he basically the leading man with Felicity Jones? Was that him?
Yeah,
Okay, okay, all right. And he dies in that, right?
yeah, just like
Okay.
pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, everybody in that movie fucking dies. I'm surprised you. I'm not gonna try to. Will and I think we saw Rogue One together, and I'll never fucking
We
forget.
did.
And it was right after Rise of Skywalker, right?
No, it was right after Force Awakens.
Shit, I just got them confused. Right after the first sequel, I knew. And
Yeah,
I think I liked Force Awakens a little more than you, but we were both kind of sipping on that Kool-Aid a bit. We were both kind of high about it. And
Yeah.
we saw Rogue One, and I don't think either of us liked it very much, but we kind of had a hard time admitting it. We were just and then we just grabbed lunch at Wingstop after, and for some reason, just the distinct memory of being in a Wingstop and realizing Star Wars fatigue is setting over you stands out really distinctly in my mind.
Yeah.
no, I mean I really liked Rogue. I think it's probably my favorite of the Disney era movies.
Yeah, yeah. I bet I could appreciate it a little more today now that because I wonder if there was a thing of I want at the time all the small crossovers and cameos look cool and I'm like, well, who are these guys that we never see again? And I wonder if something more secluded would actually appeal to me more in my jaded mindset.
Yeah, I mean I think it is refreshing to have a story that's like here's the characters and then that's it. That's all you need to really see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they do shoehorn in some pretty crappy cameos in that movie, I'll admit. But outside of that, I think that it's a pretty compelling story.
Is there any is there any fear of uh-oh, here comes Blorbo from episode 2 in this show?
Is Glup Shido in this?
No, Glup Shido is not really a character in this. They basically, because like outside of Cassian Andor, you also have the lady who like leads the rebellion in like episode 4, if you remember her.
Yeah,
I don't.
This is like kind of her time like in the Empire, kind of as a part of it before she fully like detaches herself from that.
Kind of cool.
There's a few others as well. It's really, really sparse on having any characters that aren't original. I mean, you have like, what was his name? He was the, what was it? Okay, he was the guy from like the Clone Wars who was he had like the mustache and the narrator voice.
Oh,
If
I
you
know who
remember
you
him.
mean.
Yularen, I think was his name. So he's also there. He's like a component in the Empire. The thing is, like the show doesn't really like bring attention to any of these characters. So
Yeah,
like if you don't already know who they are, you're not gonna catch that they're there.
I mean,
But
that's kind of music to my ears, honestly, because the little I watched of Obi-Wan, it was very much like, oh shit, Uncle Owen is here. Like,
this show is miles better than Obi-Wan, and I really think it's like the best we've gotten in the sequel era as far as Star Wars goes. Mostly because it does not take place on a desert planet. Like at all. It is they go back to Coruscant, which I really, really love Coruscant. And they spend like a good amount of time there, and there's like more locations than I think even The Mandalorian really goes for.
but
God, that's nice.
does this one have a baby sidekick?
No.
I don't know if it's gonna fly then.
So, Dav, I hear a lot of people talking about bricks and screws with this show, and I have no idea what that means.
It just means they used practical sets.
Okay.
Because some guy saw like well that doesn't look like a Star Wars set dressing. It's kind of stupid. I mean, I don't. It's such a nitpick. That guy had such a nitpick about it.
Means they're using wound bricks.
In Minecraft.
So, guys, do you need to do much Star Wars homework to really get this one? Because I'm familiar with the Star Wars, I've seen the Star Wars, I tend to forget crucial details of the Star Wars in between.
Not really. I mean, it helps if you've seen Rogue One, but that's about it. I mean, if you get the general gist of the Empire is in control and eventually they're going to fall, then that's about all you need.
Right. Take that then.
So yeah, it's a very nice self-contained story. And another positive that I want to bring to it that has been fairly absent in a lot of the sequel era series is there are more aliens in this, like not human people.
Oh well, I love a weird Star Wars alien. Just hanging out.
So again, Obi-Wan was so weird how it went to basically Mos Eisley and there were just a bunch of people there.
Bunch of dudes.
But yeah, I won't talk about it too much, so check it out if you are interested at all. I think it's some really good content, and I will pass it off to Tommy.
All right, sweet. Thank you for that recommendation, David. I'm gonna open a bit of a Pandora's box. It's that time of year. They fucking finally released a complete box set on DVD of every Rankin-Bass Christmas special. I've wanted this for fucking years, but I can never find a terribly complete set. There's one where it's like, oh, maybe 3 and the Grinch is thrown really off-brand. Or 5 or so. This one has all fucking 18. It's called I think it's just the Rankin-Bass Complete Holiday Specials Collection. Something to that effect. You'll find it if you search something to that effect. And if 18 sounds like a lot, it fucking is. Because there's a lot of these that did not air on TV, even if you paid really close attention. If you were an avid watcher of those specials like I was. Like when ABC Family did 25 Days of Christmas and they broke out the Rankin-Bass, I was first in fucking line. There's a handful here that they didn't really air that much, and those are the ones I kind of started with. They released this collection like end of October, and I got mine early November, and I was like, I'll try and resist watching this early in the year, but I didn't. Um, so where to start? I'm not going to review every single one, of course. There's a lot that it's just fun to explore why certain ones did not get the airtime of Rudolph or Year Without a Santa Claus. There's one called The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, and it's based on a novel. And it was written by oh crap, the author of The Wizard of Oz. I'm blanking on his name. Whoever wrote The Wizard of Oz, he wrote this novel about the premise being, the elevator pitch being, that a council of Tolkien-esque immortal creatures are gathering to discuss if Santa, who is mortal, should be allowed to be immortal, or if he should be left to die. So they're like weighing the mortal soul of Santa Claus in this like elven forest. And we learned that Santa was like raised by a fucking lion, and he had to experience the hardships of man firsthand. He was raised by immortals. And shit like that, which is a far cry from Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the more quaint Santa Claus origin. I'd say the worst of the bunch is Cricket on the Hearth. That is based on a Charles Dickens tale around the superstition of like a lucky cricket. So this Cockney talking cricket is like providing good luck to this family as horrible shit happens to them. And like it's hand drawn, and the hand drawn ones are always kind of bad, I feel like, a little bit. Like even Frosty, I think most people acknowledge is like a second class citizen. But you can kind of see, looking at the hand drawn designs, you can kind of tell where they would go if they were stop motion. It's just a shame that it's not as cool if they were stop motion. I sent a truly insane moment from Cricket of the Hearth to you guys, where a bunch of animals kidnap the cricket and bring it to like a docking ship to try to sell it. And the monkey, there's just a bit where they like bring it to a pirate ship and they log on and they hop on. They go, "Now where's our pay?" And the guy manning the ship goes, "I got your pay right here." He pulls out a pistol, and then the camera zooms out, and you just hear a few gunshots.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
What is this called again? The Cricket?
Cricket on the Hearth. It's fucking demented. It's so it's the worst one. It's the worst one of them all. I don't even recommend it. Gosh, I guess like a really interesting one that kind of surprised me was The Stingiest Man in Town. That is their adaptation of A Christmas Carol. And I noticed it was another hand-drawn one. I was ready to kind of write it off. But they got the studio that fucking, I think, did Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind to animate this one.
Jesus Christ.
And it doesn't look great. Like, I think they still gave them a small budget. It still looks Rankin-Bassy. But you just get, like, a kind of uncanny, if not interesting, anime Scrooge, voiced by Walter Matthau. It's wonderful. It's great.
The name The Stingiest Man in Town just kind of makes me laugh. Like, it doesn't really sound like a real movie.
Well, it's like, why could... I guess there's so many movies called some variation of A Christmas Carol that you need to set it apart somehow, but I don't know. I don't know if it was necessarily a good move, because that one didn't get aired a lot either, at least as far as I know. There's also... I feel like I'm making shit up at this point. I swear to God, these are all real. There's Nestor, the long-eared Christmas donkey.
The what?
That's the story. What's so fucking funny about it's like the donkey who was present at the manger when Jesus was born. He's got long fucking ears, and that's his deal.
The fuck are you watching?
How much cost again, Tommy?
What? Sorry, huh?
How much did all these fucking cost?
Like the bundle together?
Yeah.
If you're gonna scrutinize me, I'd rather not reveal.
I mean,
Let
I
me
don't
see.
know. I mean, maybe you'll
I
have
got
to
it
show
on
us
sale.
the
Let me
Christmas donkey.
see what it's going for on Amazon. That's Christmas collection. Wait, it's $50 on Amazon.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm not too broken up about it. No, and there's so many of my genuine favorites on here that I just prioritized watching the weird ones that I haven't seen just to kind of say that I have. Like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, genuinely one of my favorite films ever. I think that's such a perfect Christmas special. Fucking The Year Without a Santa Claus, fucking banger. And just like being able to recognize the stylistic distinctions brought to these specials, it's a lot easier to enjoy as an adult when it's harder to take shame in when it's like, oh, did you know this is like secretly covert anime? um Quentin Reviews did a really good video on it, and he pointed out how it's super western designs with these anime-esque facial expressions on a puppet of all things, and it's this, no one's ever been able to recapture that look. Because a lot of shows like Community and Always Sunny do parodies of these. Like they'll do a stop motion Christmas episode, but it never looks the fucking same. Because it's just this weird lightning in a bottle that there's never going to be anything quite like it again. I don't think Rankin-Bass is still doing stuff, let alone outsourcing arduous puppetry and stop motion to Japan. So I'm really happy to have this little artifact, even with weird deep cuts like Pinocchio's Chris.
Well, I think it's an important time capsule, if anything else. Like
Yeah,
I didn't grow up with the Rankin-Bass stuff, so you still have to show me Santa Claus is coming to town.
I'd be happy.
Uh,
Will, as far as you're concerned, you have Santa Claus is coming to town. Got Santa Claus is coming to town.
well, thank you, Tommy.
Yeah. You got Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
All right, I'll pass it back to you.
Anyways, so here is what I can't remember. Did I talk about? I know I talked about Path of Radiance last time. Did I talk about Radiant Dawn?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm going to roast Radiant Dawn. So I've been playing through some retro, not really retro, but older games. And I played Path of Radiance and I forgot how well that game aged. Because it's just a ton of fun and every mission has a lot of weight in the story. Radiant Dawn has aged extremely poorly. And I probably wouldn't have played it except for the fact that Ike is in there, but he's also just a minor character.
Really?
Yeah. It mainly focuses on these kids called the Dawn Brigade, and they're like trying to free, they're all really generic and none of them are really none of them are as layered as Ike or even like, I'd say Crom in the newer games. So they're just kind of like, every time you're playing as them, you're like, oh my god, I'd rather play as literally anyone else because they suck. They die in one hit. And remember, when your unit dies in Fire Emblem, they don't come back.
Well,
So on top of having this team of kids who die in one hit, and you basically have to just like pace them out, you also have to control 3 other teams. So there's the Dawn Brigade, who sucks, and then there's the I think it's called the Phoenix team, and that has a bunch of like the people who can turn into animals. They're the Grail Mercenaries, and those are the only actually good ones. And then there's the Royal Guard. 3 out of the 4 teams will literally die in the first turn if you make a wrong move, and it is so goddamn frustrating. So,
sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I just, little off. Is this your first time playing this one?
So I played a bit of it, at a friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that, this is my first time playing it all the way through.
I see. All right. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember you mentioning that, and I was a little confused if this was your first one or what. But no, yeah, I follow. So I guess what I'm wondering, if they all die so fast, are you just on the bright side? Are you just rid of them at that point?
Well, remember, you have to have at least. So they don't die so fast, like in the story. They die so fast, like in the gameplay.
Yes, exactly. Right. So you have to redo if you lose too many of them.
Yes.
Hmm. I was
So
gonna
it's
say. I
just
mean,
go. It's just like, especially because in the previous game, Ike was such a powerhouse.
mhm.
Like, it was cool. Like you knew how skilled Ike was because he was a strong unit. But it's like this game tries to show you that none of these children are prepared for combat in the way that like they all die so easily,
Right.
which I think is a design choice, but I don't think it's a good one.
It does sound like kind of a pain in the ass to have to pick up the pieces of constantly.
Yeah. The game probably should have taken 20 hours to beat. I think it took upwards of 40 because I had to replay every mission over and over again after dying so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I'm pretty adept at Fire Emblem. Like I've played not most of the games, but all of the games that really matter. Um, it's just that like they don't, and even on normal mode, none of these characters do any damage, and none of them can take a hit.
Hmm. Is this game like well received on the large, or?
Um, I think it's well received for the story, not so much the gameplay, I don't think.
Hmm.
Um, because the story is cool. Like, I mean, the stuff with Ike is, but I don't think I don't think I would be even slightly invested in this game if it didn't have my favorite Fire Emblem character.
Yeah, that blows.
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna like muscle through and finish it, or?
See, I honestly don't know. I'm the kind of person who, like, even if I really don't like a game, if I'm almost to the end, I'll finish it. But with this game, I just, like, look at it in my library and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Um, I might straight up just, like, put it on the back burner until I feel motivation again. But it's a damn shame when the first part of like a two-part series is so good and then you have the second part which you need to understand to finish up the story, but it's just kind of bad.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I can relate because I leave half-finished games around my house like they're fucking dinner plates. But I don't. I do feel you there. You do want that closure.
Yeah. Um and I mean it's got Ike, it's got the Black Knight, and those are some of the best characters in the series.
It's got
I
Goku.
think what's that?
Said it's got Goku.
Yeah, it's got Goku, it's got Shrek.
Got
No, I think like I could see Nintendo like remastering this game and making it a bit more palatable, and I think it could have worked that way. But at the same time, I'm just so disinterested in every story that doesn't have to do with Ike because they're just like the new characters are pretty skin deep at characterization. It's just we want to free people. Um and it's just there are morally like there are black and white, good and bad, whereas in Path of Radiance everything was kind of gray.
mm. See, it almost like that sounds to me precisely like I don't know, just such a typical thing where it's like you introduce younger protagonists for a younger audience and then you dumb down the story a bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely I would say you're pretty spot on with that.
Hmm. That's a bummer.
Yeah. But I mean Path of Radiance is still, almost a perfect game, so I'm thankful that I have that. It just would really love to see Nintendo maybe take another stab at, re-releasing this the same way they did with Fire Emblem Echoes.
They all have Coca-Cola hair.
Oh god, yeah, not that. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my ranting and raving about Path of Radiant, or not Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn. So it's over to you, Davey.
Cool. Okay. We all watched this together. This was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I'm so happy it exists. It's called Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell,
Hell yeah.
also known as the Japanese Evil Dead.
We
And
watched
it
a
is
lot of things
exactly
together.
that.
We watched a lot of things together this week because everyone was together for Thanksgiving, and I was trying to put my hand on what you found so, exciting, and I was like, no, it can't be. Is Dab this excited about fucking Strange World?
No.
No.
No. Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. It is Japanese Evil Dead, and it's about, what if Bruce Campbell just worked on getting gains all day, every single day? And also if he was Japanese.
And they even, print the words, the Japanese Evil Dead, on DVD releases and stuff.
Yeah, that's the subtitle. At one point he says the word groovy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the best fucking thing in the world.
Groovy.
The story is pretty nonsensical, but I mean, that's not what you're watching it for. You're watching it to see a big burly man beat up a bunch of zombies and all the gore and shit, and that's what it delivers, and that's all I could ever ask for.
This was 97, I think. But,
95.
95, but it's been I think you'll find it on Letterboxd filed under maybe 2015 because that's when it got an official release. I don't know. But even it's 95, but with very low budget gear, so it almost feels like it's out of the 70s, and you get that really bright corn syrupy blood feel that's in a lot of those.
Yep.
What I like is that it's got basically it's got the tone and the characters take it as seriously as Evil Dead 1, but it's got Army of Darkness as action. And I think that's kind of an insanely good combination.
It is, yeah. There's a whole lot of gore, a whole lot of big man fighting zombies.
A lot of good one-liners.
There are a lot of good one-liners as well, yes.
Bruce Campbell is so in touch with the fan community that I genuinely think there's a much more than non-zero chance that he's seen this.
I'm certain he's seen this before. I want him to team up with the guy from this movie and make a multiverse of madness, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe that's
hell yeah.
Maybe that's what Evil Dead Rise is going to be. They'll have a multiverse of madness, and they'll say, "Wait, your hand is a chainsaw? That's really weird."
What the scallop?
What the scallop?
It's also nice and short. It's only an hour long.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
What if they made this
Really
guy
good.
DLC in the asymmetrical Evil Dead game?
Now that would be epic.
It would be epic. I'm surprised that we hadn't really heard of this before, when we watched it, basically.
Yeah, how did you hear it?
I don't remember.
It just kind of manifested in your mind one day.
I genuinely do not remember how I learned that this existed. But we ended up watching it. It only has 3,000 watches on Letterboxd. And it's not brought up in discussion much among Evil Dead fans. But it really should be, because it is such a good homage. It's so good.
Do you know any of were the people behind? Do you know the backstory? Was it they were just big fans of Evil Dead and kind of wanted to do their own version?
I mean, I assume so. I don't really know what the backstory behind it is, but that sounds pretty much what it would be.
Okay, well, yeah, nothing wrong with that. And I mean, it's just, you hear about Evil Dead is basically just like a tiny budget and people who are passionate about corn syrup blood movies, so it just kind of spawned more of its own fucking thing. And I think that's honestly pretty incredible.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it has pretty much everything you could ever ask for as like an Evil Dead fan, and they should make more of them.
David will.
But yeah.
All right. Gonna take that as a ball pass over to another topic.
Yeah, pass it on over.
Okay, all right. I saw a movie a couple weeks ago that I'm gonna roast, connected to a franchise that I'm pretty fond of. I saw One Piece film Red, and this isn't like a blazing horrid roast. It's like a disappointing 6 out of 10 roast. The big draw of this film is that it introduces the daughter of a long legacy character called Shanks. It's all about meeting his daughter. And you know how movies connected to shonen anime like this, how they tend to be is that it can't affect the story too much, of course. So everyone has to you just have to suspend your belief that you just have to roll with it. And when Luffy says this character's been my friend since we were kids, even though I've never once mentioned her in the 25 years One Piece has existed, you just gotta roll with it. It's just that's just how it is. And I'm gonna go full spoilers. I can't imagine you guys mind. You don't do One Piece.
No.
Yeah, I don't care.
I guess that's just for the folks at home. So they're like, "Oh, it's Shanks' daughter. It's Shanks' daughter." You find out first of all, not even really true.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She just it's more of an adoptive, close kinship. That gets colloquialized into father and daughter. They just call each other that, but it's not actually the truth. She is not his biological daughter, which is super bizarre. I don't really know why they bothered. So, and then what occurs? So, I think they like partially acknowledged. Well, it can't be. I guess they just don't commit to the bit. Like, I would almost respect it more if we were expected to roll with the fact that this is Shanks' daughter after 25 fucking years. But sure, why not? Then we learned that so they arrive where she is, and she's a J-pop idol. She's an idol character. She's doing those awkward CGI dances to Japanese pop music, and everyone in the world, like, the whole story is that everyone in the world of One Piece is all caught up in Yuta. That's her name. They're all about Yuta. They love her. And it turns out she's the villain of the film. So her devil fruit powers is the Sing Sing fruit, and anyone who hears her music falls asleep and is trapped in her dream world. And she is like Joker for girls, Scarlet Witch character times fucking 10. She wants to trap everyone in her dream world where everyone gets along and no one fights. And I'm really fucking tired of the whole self-miserable Joker for girls archetype. We just fucking saw this year when Wanda Maximoff was everybody's favorite for some reason from that shitty movie for like 3 fucking months. And the reason she's so angsty, here's the part that fucking rustles my jimmies. So you learn that she was separated from Shanks at a certain point. They went their separate ways at some point. He took her to an island when she was a girl. She always had a passion for singing. And in most layman's quick terms, her singing awakens like a demon that attacks the city they visited. But Shanks didn't want her to blame herself for awakening that demon. So he was like, lie to her and say that we pillaged the town because we're pirates and we'll leave her and she won't blame herself. Which, you see that kind of thing a lot in like fantasy stories, and I always fucking hate it because it's like, if someone causes something like that, you want to give them the means to prevent that from happening in the future. Like, you don't want to fucking gaslight them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
even if it hurts.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you're not helping any. You're putting her through, I'd say, equal parts trauma by saying that her adoptive father ransacked the fucking town. It's just, one of those fucking wildly irresponsible choices that I think it makes Shanks look like a shitty dad in a way that that Oda Sensei never would have intended, because I don't know how involved he was with the writing of this, but it's nowhere in the manga, like if Shanks was like one of my favorite characters, I'd be kind of pissed off because this is not a flattering depiction. I guess the kicker is that this is also the 25th anniversary film of One Piece, so they felt the need to cram in every fucking character. And if you know anything about One Piece, you know that's a fucking mess. If you came here because your favorite Straw Hat is Sanji, like mine is, and you wanted to see him do cool shit, sorry, there's 20 other side characters he's gonna have to compete with. Like, Straw Hat crew on their own is 10 fucking characters. So them, plus whole crews and factions of side characters getting involved make this movie, like, fucking insane to keep up with at times. And I just, I think about fucking Dragon Ball Super and how thoroughly that movie just ate this one's lunch as, like, giving, some, like, nice homage to the past and legacy to kind of out there characters. It creates children for long-standing characters the way this one does for Shanks, and it commits without pitter-pattering around and saying it's just adoptive, and it also comes around to fucking working, because there were distant enough characters in the first place that it makes sense maybe they weren't mentioned until this point. So it was fucking embarrassing that, like, Dragon Ball was somehow more deft and more classy with its fan service than fucking One Piece.
Yeah, sounds like I'm not super into Dragon Ball or One Piece, but from what you've told me, kind of a like almost unfair comparison because the One Piece film just seems like the.
Yeah. There's like cool.
Why does Monkey D. Luffy not simply eat everybody else?
I think that's how the series is going to end.
Oh, he's gonna vore the planet.
Yeah. Well, because he can stretch, I think he's going to unhinge his jaw and just eat everybody.
I'm down for that. I might actually catch up on the entire series if that happens.
Jesus Christ. Fucking. There actually is a character whose devil fruit power is to eat anything. So he could also. Maybe he's the final boss all along. I don't know. Yeah. There's like cool bits like when Yuta turns out to be full Joker for girls and she's the villain, she gets some like villainous pop songs and those are like kind of cool. But she, you probably already know how it's going to go with her. She's going to be real sad about losing and she'll be sobbing the whole time, and Shanks will be real fucking sad about it, and fucking, oh no, it doesn't have to be like this. It's a bunch of fucking dog shit. Wasn't happy with it. No.
Shame.
Yeah. Will, why don't you take over?
Yeah, that does sound pretty sad. Alright, I'm gonna toast something that I didn't think I would ever be toasting. While back, Troy showed us Paddington.
Yeah!
And I don't know what it was, but for some reason, just hearing the name Paddington gave me like a Pavlovian response.
You were like so opposed to Paddington for the longest.
I really was.
No,
and I'm surprised to say, and I'm actually delighted to say that just like Marmalade, this movie was pretty sweet.
I'll never forget. Can I just share the story of the time?
No, you can't.
This was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. You said something about like, I just don't get why everyone loves Paddington so much. And I said, Will, Paddington's a good movie. And you like, you just like scream, you've watched Paddington!
Well, I guess that's my my character arc. I went from hating Paddington to liking Paddington.
And now you've watched Paddington.
Yeah. what I think Paddington does so well is it's very much like a kids movie, but it's almost like a parody of one at times. Like, you know how in Alvin and the Chipmunks you got like the dude who wants to steal the chipmunks and use them for, his own gain.
Uh-huh.
This movie has someone who wants to steal Paddington and kill him.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fucking hilarious.
I'll also add, it's Nicole Kidman as Millicent, who's the villain, and I think she's honestly phenomenal.
Yeah, no, she gives 110%.
I don't know what this says, that this might be the best Nicole Kidman role.
Yeah, I would not disagree with you. But I mean, I think what makes Paddington so good is it could have so easily been just like a generic kids movie. Like it could have so easily been that. But the creators just bumped it up to fucking 11. And the zaniness and the craziness and kind of the parody of it just make it such an unforgettable ride. And I hear Paddington 2 is even better, so I'm looking forward to watching that soon as well.
Paddington 2 doesn't have Nicole Kidman as mommy, so I don't think it's quite as good.
Oh, Tommy.
And it's like it's hard to distinguish what makes Paddington so great, because it's like you watch the preview for this and I don't know why it's so different from Peter Rabbit or Lyle Crocodile or some fucking shit, but I don't know, you watch it and you're like, I don't regret that even remotely.
Well, like I said, I think it's because of the zaniness and how sometimes it almost goes into being a parody of a children's movie while still being, a pretty damn good children's movie.
Well, having a lot of heart and I heard someone describe it as Paddington never judges people, he just models proper behavior and kind of passes that on. He'll never say, "Well, I'm afraid you're cancelled, Mr. Angle." He'll just acknowledge it and demonstrate what the proper thing to do is, and that's kind of how he spreads proper influence.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
He's never mean,
Yeah.
and I think that's in short supply.
There's never a pop song or a rap. He doesn't do Uptown Funk.
This here, that Paddington, that Paddington, that Paddington.
That Paddington. All right.
But yeah, pretty delightful. I don't really have anything else to say other than that, I'm glad that I could enjoy it and, kind of feel like I was a kid watching a movie in a theater made for me. Again, it just gave that, really cool feeling.
Yeah, and it's about a bear.
Bear.
His name is Paddington.
Yeah.
From Peru, and he likes marmalade.
Anyways, Dav, go ahead.
Okay, did you guys know that All Monsters Attack is a terrible movie?
I've never even heard of that.
Which one is that?
That is the one with the little kid who dreams that he's on Monster Island.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Because I've been marathoning all the Godzilla movies.
I've been really enjoying your observations from Letterboxd.
Yes. And when I am done sort of marathoning them, I'll talk more about the ones that I really liked. But for now that I'm done with the Showa era, I do have to highlight that there were some big dips in quality when they really, really wanted you to think that Godzilla was this children's only character.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the Hanna-Barbera series was coming out around this time too. So it was very much all in, this is the big children's character now.
They were confusing.
And All Monsters Attack.
They were confusing Godzilla with Gamera for a second there.
Pretty much. All Monsters Attack is kind of the lowest of the low of that because, not only is the story overall very, very childish, it's probably the lowest quality, lowest effort out of all of the pretty much any of the Godzilla movies.
Mm-hmm.
They reuse so much footage from other films.
I was gonna say I was having a hard time remembering if I'd seen it because I agree they just reuse big ass chunks of like Son of Godzilla because like Manila is like heavily involved, isn't he?
Yes, and he talks, and it's very unsettling.
What is he? Remind me what he sounds like.
He just sounds like a kid. And he can like shrink down to the child size
Right.
at will, and then regrow himself to be normal sized. And keep in mind, none of this actually happens in the movie. The kid just keeps on like fantasizing about it because he doesn't like his home life very much.
I wish Mini Godzilla would shrink down and talk to me.
Yeah,
Be
I
like,
mean,
Tommy, you have some serious problems.
I think Paddington
And
would
there-
like beat the shit out of Manila if they met.
probably anybody would. I mean, look at that thing.
He's going in the thumbnail. I can already tell you.
Yeah, he's got because he's a. I mean, anybody would want to punch him in the face. I don't know what to say.
There was a Super Sentai type show. I can't remember what it was, but it was the same people who's all the Toho people who made Godzilla, and they just reused a lot of costumes. So at one point, Manila, like there was a villain who was just like identical to Manila, all running around and getting fucking blown up by the Sentai. So if you never wanted to see that fucking happen, that's where you should look.
That does sound pretty funny.
He has the face of a bad guy. He could be a good minion.
Oh yeah, I mean he has the face of like a neglected child.
Aptly enough. There's never been good use of whenever a movie tries to do like a Son of Godzilla or we're hatching Godzilla eggs, it always just derails the fucking thing, and I never really like it.
Oh, but I thought what is it, Destroya that ends with
Destoroyah does it.
Junior?
Well, the thing is, Destoroyah is all about him kidnapping the baby and removing it from the story. So I think that's kind of like exception that proves the rule by faint praise.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Still, there's I mean, basically any time that they flash to the island in this kid's imagination, and Godzilla fights a monster that previously appeared in another movie, they just use the scene from that movie.
Yep.
Like Ibira shows up and they do the entire fucking volleyball sequence again. They just it's the exact same one. And there's like the kid's overarching plot is that he's like being bullied. And so the monster that is bullying Manila on Monster Island is just like a kaiju version of that kid.
It's like that hideous fucking cat one, right?
Yeah, it's
You know the one.
yeah. And then I don't know. The kid eventually ends up getting like kidnapped or something, and then something I don't really care. I just think it's number one a very misleading title. All Monsters Attack, because there's not a whole lot of them in here.
I could see someone picking this up thinking it's Destroy All Monsters and getting really upset.
Probably, yeah.
Like...
That's it. Feels like a similar title, and it's just a complete disappointment of a movie. But I feel like a lot of the Showa era movies, kind of around this, tended to be a bit weaker. They were playing it very safe and trying to be very much for kids, and so it's been very refreshing to reach the what is it? Is it the Heisei era now after the return of Godzilla?
I think it's Showa Heisei Millennium.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm in the Heisei era, and so far both of those, the ones that I've watched anyway, have been bangers. So
you can't leave, but I didn't see you log Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Is that the one that introduces Frankenstein?
Actually no, so you got 2 to go.
Yeah, I think I can skip that one.
It's just always really funny to me that they just have a guy who's the size of another kaiju.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
Yeah, he's big. Yeah. I'm looking. Yeah, you're getting closer. You're like every movie, you're inching closer to my beloved Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. So I'm really you're a ways off, but I'm excited to see what you think of that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to rewatching the Matthew Broderick movie
Mhm.
and enjoying that for what it is.
That's a lot of fish.
And that's a lot of
A
fish.
lot of fish.
And that's a lot of me being done roasting this piece of shit film. So it's your turn, Tommy.
Happily. All right. All right. Pretty easy toast. I finished Bayonetta 3 since we last spoke. Really, my most anticipated game of the year, and probably my favorite game of the year. You throw a well-made character action game with platinum DNA and Devil May Cry pedigree in there, and I'm really gonna fucking like it. I don't think it's quite as good as Bayonetta 2. I think that's a high bar to defeat, but I was pretty happy with how this turned out. A lot of people are mad about it because they're upset with the ending that I won't spoil. But to be perfectly blunt, I like the characters of Bayonetta, and I like their dynamics, and I understand like who everyone is in relation to each other. I could not tell you what's actually like happening in the story. I'm frankly surprised anybody can. Um, so really, it doesn't mean a ton to me. This, for some reason, this year in particular, where everybody feels like doing multiverse stories, and I don't think anyone can be copying each other timeline wise. I don't think that really makes sense. Um, and this one's like harmless as far as multiverse stories go. It's all about Bayonetta going to other universes, meeting alternate Bayonettas, and kind of co-opting their skills and their demons. So I think there's a really cool motif of each world you drift to with that in mind. Kind of the big draw of this one is that it's all about summoning kaiju, basically. You're building up a meter to summon one of your demons. By the end of the game, you have like 8. And they're all fucking cool. There you get like, there's Madama Butterfly, who's the big one you probably she's the one she has in Smash, who she's summoning the limbs of. Then there's like really out there ones, like there's one that's just straight up a choo-choo train.
Really?
Yeah, and when you summon it, you get just like everything freezes. You go full roller coaster tycoon and hyper fast build train tracks, and you let it fucking rip through them, and it's amazing. It's fucking great. Let's see, there's a frog I really like, and what's really cool is that each demon is associated with a weapon, and that bestows Bayonetta with different physical properties. So if you give Bayonetta the frog demon, that comes with the weapon, which is like a mic stand that's really cool, because the frog does like vocal riveting attacks. And Bayonetta moves like a creature from the Black Lagoon. She gets webbed feet and can kind of swim through the air. Or Dav's gonna know that you guys are gonna know this reference. One of them is basically the lava spider from the first Devil May Cry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of a neat little shout out, and I think they like reenact some of the cutscene of Dante meeting it when Bayonetta gets the demon contract. And when you have that one equipped, you can be Spider-Man because like she gets a different dash, and when you take to the air with this spider demon attached, you can just like web swing across, and it is super super fun. Um, so yeah, that aspect is really good. And there's 2 additional characters. There's Viola, who has a katana, and she's more she almost plays a little bit like Raiden from Metal Gear. Instead of doing activating Witch Time by dodging, she has to parry. So it's a little hard. So it's a little hard to get used to, and a lot of people don't like it. But I think it works. I think what you could absolutely criticize this game for is the genre levels. They came out. You could tell they were just kind of a half-baked side project, and I don't think they came out all that well. She does side-scrolling stealth missions, and there's 4 of them, and 2 of those 4, you can tell even the developers were like, and we'll just make it kind of short and kind of merciful, because I just don't think they came out very well. They're very tedious. Bayonetta and Jean are these 8-foot tall, heel clad women who I don't think are built very well for stealth. They're very awkward to move around that way. There's like cool concepts there, I remember it got leaked that they might be working on a full Jean spin-off, which is a little troubling, but if they like nuance this into a working system, there's something there. It could be cool. I guess, what's a bummer about Bayonetta 3 is that it is short. Like I said, I beat it much faster than I anticipated. I think it's like, if you count the Jean chapters, it's like 20-ish levels only, which is kind of a bummer. But, there's a lot of replay values. If you want to get all the platinums, I might try and go do that. And it is also like, it's never like, I'm going to play a few levels of Bayonetta. It's, oh, I wonder if I have time for a short film that I interact with. Because those levels can be a little long, and those battles are very involved. They offer save points halfway through, but it was sometimes like, well, that's my one for the day. It didn't disappoint, though. I know some people are a little bummed out about it, but I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Well, I'm glad, because I know you've been looking forward to this a lot, and with the kind of controversy that turned out to be like fake controversy, it's good to know that it lived up to your hopes and expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It does, I do think maybe Devil May Cry 5 and just what a like fine-tuned and finely detailed game that is, maybe leaves it in its dust a little bit. Gosh, was Devil May Cry 5 2019?
I can't remember actually.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, I looked that up for you. Devil May Cry 5. Yes, it was 2019.
Okay. Oh no. Well, okay. I'm having blanks in my fucking memory because I was like, oh, 3 years ago. But I think we all just agreed 2020 didn't, because 2019 that was my game of the year. Last year it was No More Heroes 3. It's looking like it might be Bayonetta 3 this year. But I might play something in between them. There's some new releases. I still gotta, weigh here and there, not to spoil too much. So
I thought your game of the year was the Jackbox Party Pack Volume 9. Specifically the game show minigame. I thought that was your favorite game of the year, Tommy.
Boomerang. God, fucking. I don't know how much context I want to give for that, but it's if you all know what Jackbox Party Games is, it's Dav and Will's method of bullying me, basically.
You get to vote somebody out of the room, and we always know who to go to.
I hate the host so much because he acts so fucking smug and surprised, like it's not gonna be me every fucking time.
My gosh, what a surprise! It's you again.
And my signal, my handle in those games is Norbit for the most part. Long story why. So it's always
we've seen a lot of variants of that name.
Because they change your name a little and put you right back in, but still annoying to see Norbit every fucking time.
Well,
all I was trying to say was
he made that mess.
I made that mess. All I was trying to say was that some offbeat character action game has been my game of the year for what feels like a long while, and there's nothing really on the horizon for that. So I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. I wonder what'll turn up for me next year. I guess to that point, Bayonetta 3 feels like a halfway point between Devil May Cry 5 and No More Heroes 3, because No More Heroes 3 is very, I don't want to say inconsistent because I like that game, but it has it's a No More Heroes game. You do a lot of mini games. It changes shit on you on the fly and expects you to roll with it. I love that about it. Whereas Devil May Cry 5 is very solid all the way through and just like this buttery smooth combat experience. Bayonetta 3 is right the happy medium. It'll change shit on you. It'll give you full kaiju missions where you have to control a heavy fucking monster. And let me tell you, 2 other kaiju games have come out this year that I've liked. Dawn of the Monsters and Gigabash. This is the best kaiju game of the year. It's not directly a kaiju game. Because it understands, like, the timing and weight of a gigantic fucking monster and what that can kind of lead to with some just really cool fucking shit. Yeah, I guess I'll try not to. I don't want to give much away in way of like the cool forms Madama Butterfly gets to do, and the Cheshire, the big cat, gets to do some cool shit. I'll probably leave it there so I don't give away everything. So that's our set of 3.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've got news bulletins, but they're a little dry. I want to add, do you guys... It's hard to talk about news without discussing Strange World. Since it's a lot to do with Chapek and Iger and Disney shooting itself in the fucking foot. Should we go into Strange World a bit?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it.
So Strange World is a film that doesn't exist. Is what
Allegedly.
we definitely paid tickets and watched a movie. That was okay. But you would think from people's reactions that this is like infinite jest. That there's no fucking way this is a real movie. Because Disney undermarketed it to hell and completely fucking kneecapped it. It bombed super, super bad. Do we think that's a shame from the content we saw?
So the thing about this movie is it does try some new things. It's just it feels like it was neglected from the start is the thing. I don't think it was just the marketing. I feel like budgetarily and time-wise, I don't think like this needed more time to cook. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the dialogue, I think we all agreed, was a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very, you created this power source for us, Searcher Clade. We would not be able to power things if not for your discovery.
It's extremely, extremely predictable too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can pretty much guess everything about this movie from the start.
Yeah.
There's like one twist that I won't talk about, but that's the only thing that really caught me off guard. It didn't even really do it that much.
And what sucks is that it expects you to... it kind of rolls with tropes and expects you to have an understanding of the shorthand they're using. Like, the character... It comes off as the character's just acting really stubborn and bullheaded for no real reason. Because, there's a father and son character who have a fight early on. But we don't... It's very rushed, and we don't really have that context, so it just comes off as them, being assholes, frankly.
Yeah, there's a lot of forced conflict in here, basically.
A lot of characters are like, wait, what did you mean by this? I didn't mean anything. You said what?
Yeah, exactly. All these characters have so much bubbling baggage that just comes to the surface so easily. And I don't think we all gave it a I found it to be a gentleman's 7. It's kind of cool. It kind of gave me Treasure Planet and Atlantis vibes from when Disney would make a kind of strange bomb and devil may care if it bombs, and this one did. And I liked, it opens with this kind of Art Deco 25-cent adventure comic serial vibe that only kind of remains, but you see them call back to it here and there with some qualities. Gosh, I'm a little all over the place with my coverage of it. It's a relatively well-cast movie. I like, Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of phoning it in, but Dav, you mentioned, he's generally just a good enough actor that he kind of just works.
Yeah.
Got Gabriel Union and Lucy Liu, so I think a real 90s baby casted this movie. Dennis Quaid. And kind of the elephant in the room is that it has asterisk the first gay Disney character. But I think this is the first character that at least kind of deserves to be called that. Would you agree?
Yeah, because it's not something that they can easily edit out.
Keyword being easily.
Yeah, it could still be edited out, but
Maybe. But I mean, credit where it's due. It is definitely the most forward character, and that character is likable, and they come back around to his motivation pretty consistently. And it was refreshing just to see two boys in a relationship in a Disney movie on screen, and not have it be something a character in Cruella just kind of offhandedly refers to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people theorize that that's why Disney doesn't want to market it. Every time I saw a Reddit post about this movie, the top comment was someone being like, I've never heard of this. Which, we were aware well in advance that this movie was coming, but I think we're just in the correct circle.
I think
Yeah.
if you regularly go to the movie theater enough, then you would have seen the trailer for it, but pretty much nowhere outside of there was it being marketed.
Yeah. Gosh, there's chunks of animation in this movie that I would perhaps be bold to call a marvel of animation. Like they do some stunning stuff towards the end. Then there's other parts that are like choppy and awkward. And like
Yeah.
Dav was saying, like, I think, it almost wouldn't surprise me if I know Frozen 2, they started with some really cool looking set pieces and then built a story around it. I wonder if they just had some really cool looking concepts and just fucking moved backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a shame. Overall, it did have the energy that Bob Chapek was like rushing this movie out, while Bob Iger was like nudging him with a pitchfork out of the fucking office because it just kind of farted out and remained. Which brings us to the news bulletin that Iger is back in and Chapek is gone as the CEO of Disney.
I
Yeah.
don't care.
And
Will, I know you have some strong opinions though.
yeah, so first of all, I'm a big Disney parks guy. I love the Disney parks. And Chapek was doing stuff that's like objectively anyone with a brain cell could be like, hey, this isn't a good idea for the parks. Okay? Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and their parks make a lot of money. So if you go to the parks and it's expensive, you want the parks to be a pretty fucking good experience. But Chapek kept like cutting corners, and everyone in the park sphere was like, we are noticing negative changes. For example, Disney Genie isn't the best thing. As opposed to like the regular fast pass. I've heard that like cast members at the Disney parks were like cheering when they found that Chapek got booted out, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I just hope that, especially with the parks, that we see a positive trend that we haven't seen since Chapek has been in charge. I know, Tommy, you went to the parks over the summer with me, and Dev, you're going to be going to Disneyland in April. And I know, Tommy, you were like, man, this is awesome. Imagine if it could be like even better. And that's how it was a lot before Chapek took over.
I guess, yeah, I guess I'm not even sure where to begin fathoming. Like, are we talking like quality of life stuff or like the content itself or?
A little bit of both. Like I don't think we'll get any more animatronics that are just like a projected face. Like we'll get actual,
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Is there a Chapek move? Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Wonderful.
To cut costs.
Gross.
Yeah. And the parks were just like the lines moved faster and they were a bit cleaner. So I'm hoping we get some of that back.
That sounds exciting. Yeah. I just kind of lost my train. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it is in April. We'll have to levy that with the trip to Super Mario World, though.
Ooh, yeah, true.
That's going to be coming up. I guess, adjacent, we saw a couple previews. Pixar does like metaphysical bureaucracy for the 15th time in Elemental. What were we?
Yeah. I think it looks very good.
No. You see that guy? There's an animator I follow on YouTube who basically fooled the internet by making like a shit post of one of the characters, and people like,
oh, like it just isn't me.
Yeah, he said like it's about liking the word moist.
Yeah.
Look up Kevin Timmertoons. He does like really good animations otherwise. But he also basically catfished a bunch of people. Because this movie will probably be roughly that stupid, but I've been wrong before. I don't know. I thought Inside Out would be a stupid movie when I saw the preview, and I liked that one, so I don't know. But on the other hand, like, I don't think they've done the metaphysical bureaucracy concept very well recently. Yeah, I don't, because I didn't really like Soul. I'm just kind of over the whole. What if this? But they all wore ties and rode a bus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The water character does not look appealing to me. He's a little much in the meta.
Yeah, the animation on him just looks janky.
Fire, it's like that's how I would expect a fire girl to look. She looks all right, but the water, it's like I get what they're going for. That it's a little uncanny that he's liquid. But I think they need to cute him up a bit. I think he's a little gross looking. And then there was also a trailer for Quantumania. You're the MCU heads here. What do you guys think?
I don't care.
Yeah.
See, I showed you guys Freaky, and that's the girl from Freaky who's playing Cassie, Catherine Newton. And I'm pleasantly surprised to see her getting some cool, getting some recognition. And any trailer with an Elton John song will like drive me in. And I kind of like the name Quantumania. I kind of like that we're moving away from Marvel movies being called The Winter Soldier and they're all named Multiverse of Madness and Quantumania, like crazy event names. Then the CGI starts, and this movie starts to look like fucking Spy Kids.
Yeah, they're phoning it in at this point. I don't.
Oh, they know that pretty much anyone will go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna. Who'd have thought Kang would make his big screen debut with fucking Ant-Man? I don't know.
Yeah, and you won't even really have the context for him unless you watch Loki.
Ugh, don't get me fucking. I love homework for my media. Yippee.
I think the shows would have been better as self-contained stories, but the fact that you have to watch the shows in order to understand the movies.
What is your temperature? Was Loki? I know Will liked Loki. What did you think of Loki?
I did not like it.
It seemed a little goofy to me. I don't like when it gets all tongue-in-cheek. Oh, there's an alligator. I don't know, man.
It doesn't make sense for Loki as a character to act the way he does at this point, I don't think. If we're made to believe that this is right after Avengers 2012, I just don't believe anything that he does.
Well, it's my understanding that he gets basically scared straight by his own character arc, which honestly sounds like a fucking...
He watches a projection of it, and I guess that makes him change his mind about everything, and I just don't believe that.
He gets a 2-minute Christmas Carol, basically.
Yeah.
Fucking dog shit.
And then they try to replace him with a variant of himself, basically as the main character, and that's even more disappointing.
Yikes. Yeah. Well, I hope Disney News is less unhinged with a new CEO, but executives are also executives. I don't know, man. This takes me to... So, we're not going to be able to do news in our next podcast, because that's going to be a very special episode. I'll share more on that in a moment. But there's going to be Game Awards news. So, I propose that we all roleplay as if we knew the Game Awards news, which I think we all have an idea of what's coming. And we see how well our comments age. I think Wompa League, the new Crash Bandicoot game, looks kind of fun. I have confusing feelings about that new female character they introduced.
Me personally, I think Fast and the Furious 2 really could be Game of the Year this time. I'm glad they announced it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was really boring seeing them remake the Dead Island 2 trailer again.
I just can't believe that Game of the Year went to I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandma.
I could believe that.
Yeah,
you saw what it was up against.
Yeah. It's a shame that Game of the Year is like a genre now, because it's never anything I connect all that deeply with. You know what I mean?
I mean, Animal Crossing was nominated in 2020.
True. Okay. It didn't win, did it? What won that year?
That went to The Last of Us Part 2, which won every goddamn award that year.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably going to be Elden Ring. Who are we fucking kidding?
I hope it is, because it's pretty much just between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. Props to the other games in that lineup, but it's those two.
Which, the concerning thing
And
is that I heard about God of War Ragnarok for like 2 days, and everyone beat it that quickly, and now I don't fucking hear about it anymore.
yeah, it's a very short game from what I hear, and it tells you step by step how to do everything. You know, all the side characters telling you like you should reposition yourself to the other side of this structure, and then try the puzzle from there.
I would rather like Will. You like the new God of War, right?
I did, yeah.
I guess I like my Kratos a little more arcadey and a little more fucked up and a little more Devil May Cry. I don't know, man. I miss that.
No, see, I agree that like the classic Kratos is a bit better though.
I don't need like walking simulator Kratos where there's a squirrel or some shit telling you how to solve puzzles. He just fucking my Kratos just fucking cuts his way through his problems. I don't know, man.
They did make PlayStation All-Stars canon, though.
Wait, really?
Yeah, there was like a character who asked him, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he mentioned, like, I heard you took part in a tournament and fought the greatest musician of all time.
What the fuck?
Kratos is just like, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Wait, is he talking about fucking Parappa?
Yes. But guys, that means canonically, God of War Ragnarok Kratos has met Kat from Gravity Rush. That's all I care about now.
That means fucking canonically, Kratos saw with his own 2 eyes fucking Heihachi Mishima. Like the like PlayStation mascot cat. Fucking Parappa. There's been rumors, the fucking rumor mill of a new PlayStation All-Stars with Spider-Man in it, and I'll believe it when I fucking see it, but I'd be really happy. Like, PlayStation All-Stars is my favorite game that is objectively bad. Like, it's wonderful.
Uh-huh.
If they added actual, like, knockback and KO zones, I think it would be a lot better than having to kill everybody with your specials, and that's it.
Pretty much. Oh, man. Fucking Parappa. I can't... It's like, didn't this have like a release date issue too? Because it was Horizon Forbidden West came out the same day as Elden Ring and just got fucking steamrolled. Didn't this release the same day as something else too?
I don't
Sonic Frontiers,
recall.
I think?
Oh, maybe that was it. Which I guess
Was that the same day? I thought it was before that.
hey, let's see. I think the bad sign too that we saw the design for Thor for this game and everyone was like, "Oh, this fucking guy," and I haven't heard a fucking thing or seen a fucking clip or seen a bit of fan art about the fucking like. Is he even in there? Like, what happened there?
I've seen clips of him like fighting Kratos, and there's like a section where he does like a fake out kill, and then the loading screen starts, and then he like reaches through the loading screen and goes back to fighting him.
Honestly, fucking incredible. I like the sound of
that. That does sound cool.
It was indeed there. So the day after, so it was Sonic Frontiers on November 8th and God of War on November 9th.
Jesus.
All right, well, I don't know if Sonic is necessarily... Sonic Frontiers looks kind of neat, but I don't know if it's necessarily the earth-shattering competition that would silence God of War on my timeline, but oh well.
I've heard that objectively it's pretty bad, but for a Sonic game, at least recently, it's basically Game of the Year.
All right, well, I'll take that.
Goddamn.
I'll take that as I will. I guess, and all right, well, with all that said, the reason you won't hear news next month is that towards the end of December, we will be recording the first annual Toasty Awards. And you will hear mine and Will and Dav's choices for each of our favorite game, TV season, and movie of the year. I'm pretty excited about that. It's our own little game awards with no Jeff Keighley and no Muppets and no Sidney Goodman. Those last couple make me sad.
That's a shame.
Yeah. We will get our friend Troy to wear a dress and be the presenter. I don't know.
Yeah. Troy, if you're listening, this is your chance.
So, whoever correctly guesses our favorite choices wins, I don't know, I owe you a steak. Come on down to Denver. I'll take you to Shanahan's. I'll get you a real good steak. I don't think you're actually going to win. So tune in for the Toasties towards the end of December. We'll see when we get a chance to record. And until then, this has been Tommy.
This will be Will.
Will.
This is currently Dav.
And thank you for listening, as always. We'll catch you next time. Wear your best gown for the Toasties. Thank you very much.
I will.
You will.
I will.